Good afternoon. I'd like to call the City of Menasha Common Council meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we have the roll, please?
Alderman Tom Grotti.
Here.
Alderman Ted Grotti.
Here.
Alderman Rapella.
Here.
Alderman Nichols.
Here.
Alderman Taylor.
Here.
Alderman Sevenik.
Here.
Alderman Kruger.
Here.
Alderman Langdon is absent.
The first item on the agenda this evening is public comments on any matter of concern to the city. If there's anyone from the public who'd like to speak this evening, if you could step up to the microphone and state your name and address.
It's not turned on.
Oops, I'm sorry. Now you're on.
Christopher Evenson, 523 Broad Street, 31-year resident of Menasha. I've reviewed the materials in the packet regarding the Racine Street Bridge for tonight's hearing. I know those of us in favor of repairing the bridge have probably lost the fight, and the state and this administration will be forcing a new bridge and roundabouts down our throat. Per Senator Roth's letter, R-1517 was a futile exercise. It was designed to placate the council and justify the mayor's vetoes. Sadly, we'll never know if the DOT decision could have been changed last year when this council voted for option B. I know the citizens won't be allowed the input a referendum would provide given the mayor's veto. In fact, I would suggest that the bridge be renamed the Mercus Memorial Bridge. I feel a lot like Don Quixote charging a windmill, but there has to be someone on the record speaking for the opposition to this project. Why are many of us opposed? Number one, the cost to the city and the taxpayers is the primary concern, and these costs are not well understood or documented. We do know it costs about $100,000 per year just for the bridge tenders. We know that every 25 to 30 years we'll have to put millions of remediation dollars into the bridge to get the full 100-year life expectancy. We know that 100 years from now we'll have to pay the cost for replacing the bridge. The fact that a state grant fund exists to help with some of those costs doesn't mean we'll get the grant. It doesn't mean those funds will be available in the future. It doesn't mean that the ongoing maintenance, insurance, and repair costs will be covered. Two, the new bridge takes valuable commercial waterfront property off the tax rolls and will require the destruction of many mature trees as well as a small city park. Three, the Racine and Main Street roundabout will speed traffic past our downtown and make pedestrian and bicycle travel dangerous. Roundabouts are all about cars and trucks, not people. Four, the DOT has not been candid in its communications on this project. It claimed there was overwhelming support for a Racine and Main Street roundabout, when in fact the written comments were evenly split, and the comments given at city meetings was decidedly against this roundabout. It's also clear from the DOT letter in tonight's packet that the 30-ton weight limit is something that could be fixed right now. The DOT letter states, quote, the 30-ton posting could potentially be removed with some repairs to the end beams of each bascule leaf. This sounds like a pretty simple repair. Why we haven't pushed the state to do the repair even when it impacts one of our fire trucks? Because the 30-ton reduced limit plays into the DOT and this administration's push for a new bridge. In short, the 30-ton weight limit is a red herring, conveniently tossed in to support option J. The city should be pressing the state to make the repair mentioned now so that our behemoth fire truck can use the bridge for the next 2 years. I've not heard these facts adequately addressed or refuted. At any rate, they needed to be on the record. I next want to comment on the Administration Committee's agenda for tonight, which has a single item. That is the recommendation to borrow $3,890,000 from a state fund at 4.25% for 10 years. Running an amortization calculation puts this at an additional $478,000 per year in city debt payment. What's that going to pay for? One item is $407,000 for a build-out of the new City Hall, this building. $668,000 is for Main Street, $293,000 for park facilities improvement, $238,000 for a new fire engine, $240,000 for a police evidence room, and $225,000 for Loop the Lake Trail. These are the big-ticket items that aren't covered by TIF 12. Of note, it doesn't cover a new public works building. That's coming in the near future. Am I the only citizen questioning this additional borrowing at a time where we are still stuck in a $32 million steam plant hole and have the highest tax rate in the valley? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evenson. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak this evening? Seeing no one else, we'll move on to the report of department heads, staff, and consultants. We do have a recognition proclamation for Dave Clausen this evening, and Alderman Grady and I would like to present it to him. Put you in the middle. How's that sound?
Don't forget the sword.
So Dave has been a fixture on the corner of Conomac and Plank Road for a number of years, as long as I can remember.
And third in Conomac. He's on both corners.
Okay, couple of corners, but brought a lot of joy to people throughout the community, waving, saying hello to people, talking to people as they walk by. So Dave has moved to another community, unfortunately, so we won't be seeing a lot of him anymore, but we wanted to recognize your efforts over the past few years with something. And it talks about recognizing the contributions to the city of Menasha community. Whereas Menasha prides itself on being a friendly and inviting community, and whereas you have taken the effort to go the extra mile by bringing a smile to people with your actions, and whereas numerous people throughout Menasha have recognized your community spirit, greeting people at the corner of Conomac and Plank, whereas your presence has become a staple of the neighborhood and your smiles and waves will be sorely missed with your recent move from the area, therefore be it proclaimed that the city of Menasha commends the contributions of Dave Clausen, the Menasha greeter, to the city of Menasha community. Tom?
We also have a little pin that you can wear with you. You'll have Menasha on you at all times. Or your hat. We'll miss you in the Jefferson Park neighborhood.
So thanks again for everything you've done for the
Thank
community.
you. Give us a salute.
Thank you. Maybe they pushed the desk back further tonight,
I think they did.
or I got fatter. Item 2 is regarding the memorial fishing program that the fire department is working on right now. From Chief Clone.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'll try and keep this brief, but just wanted to bring forward a program that we would like to launch. We tried to launch it earlier after school got out this summer, but a couple of things that we were working through. So I think after Nina's council meeting on Wednesday, we'd like to start. But what it's called is it's called For the Sake of Jake, and it's a fishing program where kids in the community can stop by either Station 35 in Menasha or Station 32 in Nina. They can grab a fishing pole, any kind of equipment they need, hooks or bobbers or whatever, and allow them to go fishing. And we're doing this in conjunction with Assistant Chief Paglow's son, who tragically passed away last year. Loved to fish, was a huge fisherman. So we kind of tied the two together to keep Jake's memory alive and allow other kids to do what Jake loved to do, and that was fish. And so I appreciate Alderman Krieger coming forward. He was able to have some friends in the fishing industry where we were able to get a lot of the equipment at very minimal cost. And so we're hoping to see where it goes, but maybe build on it where we can have the kids, when they stop down to get a pole, maybe give them some kind of brochure that has some safety tips on it and give them a teaching moment. Maybe later in the summer, have some kind of program with our water rescue team where they can show them how to, properly wear a life jacket or some type of fishing or some type of safety message for the kids, or even have an hour where they can show them how to fish or tie knots or whatever it is. So I just wanted to bring that forward and let you know that we're gonna try and work on this program.
For the public, you said 35. Could you count what station?
Sure, I'm sorry, sure. So it'd be Menasha's Fire Station 35 on First Street in Menasha by the library, and then Nina's Fire Station 32 that we have on Columbian Ave across from City Hall.
Do they have to return the fishing gear?
They do not. So once they pick it up, it'd be one per family. They can come and grab a pole and pick out a couple lures and some fishing hooks and bobbers. And we're also hoping that, if we post it on Facebook, members in the community that, maybe no longer fish or want to get rid of a fishing pole or they can drop it off. We'll try and recondition it, and we'll just pass it on and make a, young child happy that he has a fishing pole. So I don't know if anybody else wants to say a little something?
You covered it.
All
Really
right,
good
so,
job.
all right. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Alderman Kruger. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item 3 is the minutes and communications. Do we have a motion? Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I move that we receive minutes A, B, and C, and communications D through L.
Is there a second? There's a motion and a second by Alderman Taylor. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda has 3 items this evening. The minutes to approve from the Common Council from July 2nd, the Board of Public Works recommendations for an intergovernmental agreement for concrete reconstruction on Valley Road west of Shane Drive to the east of Forest View Court, and a change order to advance construction for the water main reconstruction contract B, Lake Road East-West. It's an add of $2,122.21. Does anyone wish to have any items separated this evening? Alderman Sevenick.
I'd like to separate the items under the Board of Public Works, item 2 and 3.
Okay, so we'll just do them all separately then. Is there a motion for the minutes? Alderman Sevenick?
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I move that we approve the minutes of 7/2 of 2018.
There is a motion and a second from Alderman Ted Grady. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 2 is the intergovernmental agreement. Alderman Kruger?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement for the concrete reconstruction urbanization project, City of Appleton, City of Menasha, Village of Fox Crossing for Valley Road west of Chain Drive to east of Forest View Court.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Ted Grady. Discussion. Alderman Sevenick?
I'd ask for unanimous consent to hear from our Public Works Director. I was wondering where we are with the issue of assessments.
Okay, so street assessments, per our ordinance, I'm just going to read straight from the ordinance here, it is the policy of the City of Menasha that all property owners shall pay for a road, and that all subsequent repair and maintenance shall be borne from the general funds and shall not be assessed against the property of the owner. However, nothing shall prevent the abutting property owners to petition the council for a higher classification of a road than now exists, or the council from on its own motion ordering such classification. Based on this, I would consider this a higher classification roadway because we are putting the curb and gutter in. So I would think that this would be assessable. Obviously, it's the council's ultimate decision as to whether to assess or not. The issue that I do see is that there are 8 properties that front Valley Road in this location that are part of the city of Menasha. 5 of the 8 have already been assessed during a project in 1993 when we reconstructed Elkhorn Drive, Emerald Court, Garnet Court. The properties at 1798, 1799, Garnet Court, 1798, Emerald Court, 1431 Valley Road, and 1810 Elkhorn Drive, and then the apartment units east of Elkhorn Drive all got assessed on as part of our corner lot policy. The 1798 Garnet Court, 1799 Garnet Court, and 1798 Emerald Court all got assessed for the short side of their lot. So our assessment policy would be to assess for the long side minus the distance that's assessed on the short side. So for instance, 1799 Garnet Court, 118 and a half feet is the long side, 100 feet is the short side, so they'd only be assessed for 18 and a half feet.
Okay.
The properties at 1435, 1439, and 1443 Valley Road have not been assessed at all.
Okay, so will those be your recommendations?
Yes, those would be
Okay.
my recommendations to
Sounds
assess
good.
those.
And the others?
And the ones that have been assessed the short side, but not the long
Right,
side.
okay. And then the ones that have been assessed in the past, we would not?
That is
Okay,
correct.
just want that to be clear. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 3 is a change order for advanced construction. Do we have a motion? Alderman Kruger.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion for the change order for Advanced Construction Incorporated, contract number M002-9-00971-B, 2017 Water Main Reconstruction Contract B, Lake Road, east-west, add $2,122.21 Menasha Utilities charge, change order number 2.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Ted Grady. Is there any discussion? Oops, I'm sorry, it's Tom Grady. Have I been saying Ted every time?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't worry, their mother does it all the time.
Here's the gender right.
No wonder I've been kicked here by Debbie a few times. Seeing no further discussion, could we have a roll call, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item I is action items. The first item is the accounts payable and payroll for July 3rd through July 12th. Do we have a motion? Alderman Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for the accounts payable and payroll for the term of July 3rd through July 12th, 2018, in the amount of $870,671.28.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Kruger. That one's easier. Any discussion? Alderman Sevenick.
This time I'll ask for unanimous consent to hear from John. And I indicated to you earlier and at the last meeting about a specific check. Is that in this packet?
That specific check is not in this packet.
Because I could not find it.
Correct.
And you had told me it could be this next packet.
Right, it was not in this packet.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess I know what I'm doing then.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 2 is the beverage operators license applications for 2017 through 19. Is there a motion? Alderman Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move for the approval of the beverage operators license applications for the 2017 through 2019 licensing period as listed under approved in the Police Department's memo dated July 11th, 2018.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Kruger. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 3 is the first revision to the state municipal agreement for the Broad Street project. Do we have a motion? Alderman Kruger?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion to approve the first revision state municipal agreement for the state-let urbanized area STP urban project, Broad Street from Taco Street to Racine Street.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Nichols. Alderman Sevenick, did you have discussion?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'll ask for unanimous consent to hear from Director Josh Radomski. Could you explain the first revision?
So in 2014, we signed an agreement with the Wisconsin DOT to do the Broad Street project from Taco to Racine. That original agreement had a maximum construction funding of 78% of the project, up to $604,190, and then also 78% of the construction inspection funding, up to $79,862. This revised SMA, which comes about because the city of Kaukauna refused some federal funding for a bridge project that they had, and it was reallocated to our project by East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission to provide up to 80% of the construction costs, up to a maximum of $727,061, and 80% of the construction inspection costs up to $84,502. This represents an increase of $127,511 of increased funding to the Broad Street project. I do want to make a note that this does not affect the engineering or land acquisition that was approved last meeting.
Okay. And this provides additional, basically, grant dollars for this, but it isn't additional cost to the city of Menasha.
It provides additional grant dollars. There is no additional cost over what would have been the original project.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, could we have a roll call vote, please?
They don't want a bridge either.
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 4 is a contract for assessment services with associated appraisal. Do we have a motion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move for the approval of the contract for assessment services with associated appraisal for the term of August 2018 through July 2021.
There's a motion and a second by Alderman Kruger. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item 5 is a Class A liquor license application for the Piggly Wiggly. Is there a motion? Alderman Nichols?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move for the approval of the Class A liquor license application for RNR Foods LLC, Richard Lee, agent, doing business as Menasha Piggly Wiggly, for the 2018 through 2019 licensing year.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second from Alderman Sevenick. Is there discussion? Alderman Kruger?
Thank you, Mayor. I just had one quick question. I believe it was at the last council meeting, we got a notification that Piggly Wiggly was closing. And now they're, am I misunderstanding that? I thought they were.
There is a new owner for Piggly Wiggly, and they are basically restarting the business with the new owner. So they're technically closing and reopening, but it wouldn't be something the public would notice.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item J is held over business. Alderman Taylor,
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to table.
is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion carried on roll call 7-0.
Item N is public comments on any matter that was listed on the agenda. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Seeing no one, could we have a motion to adjourn? There's a motion and a second by Alderman Tom Grady. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.